Hey, shalom, shalom. How you want to wild? Which is good day. Anakna Wahai Bar Yasha'Allah. Hey, we the Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushua to preach to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, Haitians, and Israelite foreigners. Acham Atam, Kaya, Hamalak Watashamayim, Korab, repent gay for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. First and foremost, before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and say call light and law. Yahweh Bahasham Yahushua Bahasham Chah HaKodash. A double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us the truth and rule well. And much respect to you, bros, that are pushing this truth with all righteousness and sincerity. Shalom, shalom. All right, so we're going to get into the etymology of the number 6, all right, because everything has a Hebrew root, So we'll start with the etymology.
This is 6 in the etymology dictionary. It reads, one more than 5, twice 3, the number which is more than 5. A symbol representing this number, Old English 6, 6, seox, from the Proto-Germanic sex, Old Norse Swedish, Old Frisian sex, Middle Dutch sessi, Dutch zes, Old High German seis, German sex. Jumping down, it
You
says
skip down to where it says
the
Sanskrit.
Persian. Okay, kind. So Sanskrit sas, Avestan kavash, Persian shash.
So that's the point right there. It said sas, which if you if you drew arrows from the S's, there will be Shah, and the A will be, of course, it will be an A, and then the second S will be a Shah, making it Shash. But then they gave you it's per se Persian, but we understand that the Persian language that they were speaking back in those times was a derivative of the Paleo Hebrew, the Lashwan Kodash. You see, so that is spiritual because they got it on the Adam line, and that's actually how you say Shash. All right, and that's why essentially we just want to go into it. You see, because everything stems from the Paleo Hebrew. All right, I got the definition in the blue letter. It says H8337 Shash. It says a primitive number. It says adjective, which it describes, like if you was to count a certain amount of things, if you had like 6 books or 7 books. It says masculine, which is shash. All right, then you got the feminine, all right, which is shasha. So then it says shash, masculine. Shasha is the feminine, a primitive number, CH7797. 6 has a overplus beyond 5 or of the salat as a overplus beyond 5 or the fingers of the hand as ordinal 6. Now I want to go to this word H7797. It says shawash, which means to exalt or rejoice, pretty much going back to what you brought out in the etymology line, being one more than 5. That's why it will be exalted. So it's one more than power, because we understand that 5 is representative of power. All right. So from there, I wanted to get John chapter 8 and verse 12.
John 8 and 12 it reads, Then spake Yahushua again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life.
You keep going.
The Pharisees therefore said unto him, Thou bearest record of thyself, thou record is not true.
Right, and if you look up Paleo Hebrew, Halashwan Kodash, the Holy Tongue, this is what so-called scholars say. Which you got some scholars that understand that everything it comes back from a certain language, which they call Edenics, which is a study that every human language came from a chief language or beginning language, which the Halashwan Kodash, the Holy Tongue. You see, Baha'u'llah Bayah, in the alphabet. The alphabet actually came from the Paleo. Everything stems from the Paleo. Baba Kashak, keep running back.
Okay. John 8 and 13. The Pharisees therefore said unto him, Thou bearest record of thyself, thy record is not true.
Right, because you got some so-called scholars, and then you got even some, bugged out Christians, bugged out groups that'll say, hey, that the Paleo y'all have is not true. You see, but if that was the case, why would they have Shash? Why would they have an example inside, the etymology line? It just shows you that everything just stems from the language that we have. You see, because the Lord said that He will return the language. We get Jeremiah 12 and 15, Baba Kasha, and then go down to 17.
So Jeremiah chapter 12 and verse 15, it reads, "And it shall come to pass after that I have plucked them out, I will return and have compassion on them, and will bring them
Which
again."
we in the process of the Lord having compassion on us. He's giving us back our heritage. This is the start of it because essentially it's going to be in the kingdom. In the kingdom, hey, we're gonna be speaking full Lashwan Kodash. Ba'i Borith in the Hebrew. You see, we're gonna be speaking on that heavy vibration. Everything gonna be returned back to its natural state, but it starts at this moment right now.
Mm-hmm. "I will return and have compassion on them, and will bring them again, every man to his heritage, and every man to his land.
Yep.
And shall come to pass, and it shall come to pass, if they will diligently learn the ways of my people, to swear by my name, the Lord liveth, as they taught my people to swear by Baal, then shall they be built in the midst of my people. But if they will not obey, I will utterly pluck them up and destroy that nation, saith the Lord."
Hey, so pretty much the point being, everybody's gonna follow after the ways of us. In the kingdom. How we see the lingua franca in the land right now is English. Everybody speak English. If you don't talk about this devil's language, you can't get nowhere. That's why you see in these other countries, if you can speak English, you got a foothold, or you got a step up from the people in your land, so to speak, because a lot of times these people can't find jobs, so they'll go to these different embassies, these different um, diplomatic areas that America has set up because they can speak English and they're able to get a job, whereas they don't really have uh, uh, jobs in that particular area. They're using it to their advantage because they can speak English, just like these different countries are using America, or using they speak the same language as this devil. So that essentially they're using it to their advantage. But right now it's not an advantage anymore. And in the kingdom, it's going to be less of an advantage, you see. But it's not going to be an advantage at all because we're going to be on that righteous vibration. I'm going to get,
Right.
you had something?
Now, I was just going to say, because everybody's going to be speaking the Hebrew, man.
Right,
So it's not going to be a delineation between the nations, in that regard. Right? Everybody's going to be speaking that holy language.
right. Could you get Numbers 13 and 24? I'm going to get Malachi 3 and 18. This is Malachi chapter 3 and verse 18. It says, then you shall return. Then you shall again discern between the righteous. So this is New King James Version. I'm tripping. This is Malachi chapter 3 and verse 18. It says, then shall ye return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth the Most High and him that serveth him not, you see. And that's what the Lord is doing for the hopeful elect. He's putting the spirit on the hopeful elect to understand who's coming in the correct spirit and who's not. Who's coming in the correct doctrine and who's not, you see. So the hopeful elect can see that the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, those are likewise doctrine, got the true doctrine, you see. And what's entailed in that doctrine is the Lashwan Kodash, the holy tongue. You see, the holy language. Hashapah Kodash, the holy tongue, or the holy language.
Okay. This is Numbers chapter 13. You said 24, right?
You started 23.
Okay. It reads, "And they came into the brook of Eshcol, and cut down from thence a branch, which one cluster of grapes, and they bare it between two upon the staff, and they brought the pomegranates and the figs. And the place was called the brook of Eshcol, because the cluster of grapes which the children of Israel cut down from thence."
Slop. Nah, it's another one. Give me a second. You can speak, bro. Or you can get Zephaniah 3 and 9.
Okay, okay.
Oh, Salah, it was Nehemiah. I'm gonna read it right fast, and then we get that.
Okay.
This is Nehemiah chapter 13 and verse 23, 22. It says, "And I commanded the Levites, law Yah, that they should cleanse themselves and that they should come and keep the gates to sanctify the Shabbath Yawam, Sabbath day, or Yawam Shabbath. Remember me, O my power, concerning this also, and spare me according to the greatness of thy mercy. In those days also, in those days also saw I Jews that had married wives of Ashdod, of Ammon, and of Mawa'aba, Moab, and their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language, but according to the language of each people. All right, and um, this is essentially what so I'm gonna keep going. And I contended with them and cursed them and smote certain of them and plucked off their hair and made them swear by the Most High, saying, "Ye shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves. Did not Shalamah, king of Israel, send by these things? Yet among many nations was there not, so yet among many nations was there no king like him, who was beloved of his power, and the Most High made him king over all Israel. Nevertheless, even him did outlandish women cause to sin." You see, so the sin was, allowing pretty much his offspring to take on those different philosophies and customs, and then him himself in that lifetime um, taking on the customs of those women. That was the sin. It wasn't dealing with um, the other nations. All right, but pretty much the point that I wanted to get was in doing that, in the scattering, taking on the customs of the heathen and stuff like that, we lose our culture, you see. Because going back to verse 24, it says, "And the children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language, which was the holy tongue, Halashwan Kodash, but according to the language of each people." And that's essentially what has happened to us in the scattering. We're speaking in different languages of our captors. All right.
Right, going from the Babylonians to the Assyrians, which you saw with Jeroboam, leading our people into that idol worship, go speaking their language, and then going into the Greeks, right, the Hellenization, and then the
Mm-hmm.
Romanization, and then by then, Jake was damn near completely gone. So
Yep.
then, after 70 AD, right, we got scattered throughout the earth, man.
Yep. We could we could get Baruch 2 and 30.
Okay.
Well, you got
You want that Zephaniah?
you got it in the blue letter.
Kind of can pull it up, yeah.
I'm gonna get Baruch 2 and 30. This is Baruch chapter 2, and we'll start at verse 29. It says, "If ye will not hear my voice, surely this very great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations, where I will scatter them. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves, and shall know that I am their Lord. I am the Lord their power, for I will give them an heart and ears to hear. And they shall praise me in the land of their captivity, and think upon my name." And see, the hopeful elect is thinking upon the Lord's name, because He's returned His name, and that's the most important uh, name, or the most important names and words in the language. You see, because going back, it says, "For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves." And when you remember, is Zakar, Hadabar Zakar, Bahalashwan Kodash, the word Zakar in the holy tongue. You know, Zakar means to make mention, to think on, reflect, recollect. The Lord's putting the spirit on the hopeful elect to say, "Hey, that's true. That's a true language. That's the Lord's name." You know.
This is Zephaniah 3 and 9. It reads, "For then will I turn the people a pure language, turn to a people slave. For then will I turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of the Lord to serve him with one consent."
Right, to serve Him with one consent. You see, so the Lord returned His name, and then also in conjunction with that was the rest of the language. You see, because you can see when we go back to Bara'ash, Genesis chapter 11, and then also 10, more specifically 11, it talks about how the languages was confounded. You see, it's not natural to make a like a if you see a you, you know, and different words in English, it's like this was made up, you know. Like if you see let me see if I can get an example, like cook, you know, that makes the two O's make a U. You know, you can see that was essentially changed. You see, because it's much more easy to say a I or a I. You know, ooh and e and all that stuff. You can tell that was thrown in there, but we can still see traces and derivatives in the language going back to Baba Kushak. I'm gonna get it again. This is Baruch chapter 2 and verse 30, and we're gonna run that back again too. It says, for I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people, but in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves. You see, so we're remembering ourselves, all right, and in that, you know, it's just different words and different things you can see in history and society, you know, and so-called like social norms. You can say, hey, this goes back to the Paleo Hebrew, you know, because the Lord left them traces, you know, like the little breadcrumbs, you know, like you leave a little breadcrumbs and then you like, aha, like, oh, there it is right there. You know, the Lord is leaving those breadcrumbs, and the hopeful elect is like, you know, that goes back to our heritage, you know.
Right. Kind of back in Zephaniah 3 and 9. For then will I turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of the Lord, to serve him with one consent.
Right, and it said to a pure language, which that word is barar, which means to be chosen. Because again, when we look at, you know, the English language, if we look at Spanish, we could see that different things just thrown in there, and it makes it more difficult to say some words. Like you take a word like different, you know, it's simple for us to say now, you see, but you had to be taught actually how to say that. Whereas if you say some of the if you say some of the words or the names in the scriptures in the English, it's like super difficult to say it. But if you say it in the Lashon Kodash, it's like way easier. And that's because the vibration is just simple. The Lord says simplicity and Hamashayak. You know, it's plain. The way is made plain to the holy, roughly paraphrasing. And in the scripture, this last one, could we get
Hey, I'm gonna read this in the NLT real quick before we get
Kai,
out
you
of here.
got it.
It's Zephaniah 3 and 9 in the NLT. Then I will purify the speech of all people, so
Uh-huh.
that everyone can worship the Lord together.
Mm-hmm.
Because as the brother's going into, right, all these other languages are pretty much bastardized versions of the Hebrew, man. You know, because there's bits and pieces of the Hebrew scattered throughout them. Because the
Mm-hmm.
Hebrew is that root language, man. It's that first language. So everything is about to be purified back to its original source, man.
Right. I got this right here. This is Daniel chapter 12, verse 10. It says, many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand. Hey, the wicked don't understand that, you know, this is the holy language. You see that, but oh, that's made up. You can't put that into Google, you know, and it actually works, which it does. It'll work, you know, but oh, you can't put it into Google and it doesn't work, you know. They'll say something like that, or they won't even, you know, go into it, but it's okay. They don't have the spirit. It says, but the wise shall understand. You see, because the wise the wise had a vision. You know, they can see the breadcrumbs. It's like we got the hopeful elect has not X-ray vision, but like you got the goggles, and essentially you're the only one that got the goggles on. You can see the traces that the Lord left through the Spirit. You know,
Right?
that's pretty much it. If you ain't have nothing else,
That was it.
well, Adoram Tazah Zabana Yapa, Lord's will does a beautiful edification through the Spirit. While Adoram Tazah Adam Yashuam Tawab, a Lord's will, y'all have a good day. We can go ahead and close it up by saying, call light and law. Yahweh Basham, Yahweh Shah, Basham, Chah HaKodash. A double honor to the elders and apostles of great millstone that taught me this truth and rule well. And much respect to you, bros, that are pushing this truth with all righteousness and sincerity. Shalom, shalom. Hayawam to Wab, while Yahweh Mahar, Labachayarim. A gospel to the elect. A shalom, shalom.
So,